Welcome along, everybody. We are back for more ALR Silver this time, and of course it's Monday night, so it's more silver action for you. We're just waiting for a couple more people to get into the lobby because unfortunately we've got a few people copying their updates and whatnot, which of course the update came out earlier on today. So if you haven't got it done, if you haven't got it done, just make sure you get it done for the next race. Yeah, just a couple more people to jump into the lobby. And then we're going to get ourselves underway. Unfortunately, the download only about unfortunately it's only about what is it, about 200 megabytes, isn't it? But it takes about 5 hours to copy still, as per usual. So yeah, like I said, just a couple more people to jump into the lobby, and then we'll be underway. Unfortunately, a few errors and issues here and there, but once again, we'll be underway very shortly. Just to have a small delay. Now, of course, because we're just waiting for a couple more people to just get themselves sorted and jump into the race so we can get started. But welcome along, everybody, to the event, to ALR Silver Season 5, Round 8. This is Azerbaijan, of course. It's going to be the the next race of the feature of this long season, and we're just discussing it in the pre-game lobby. Basically, we're only about a third of the way through the season because, of course, Round 8 out of 24 this will be, and once we finish this round, we've got 2/3 left of the season. It's been a pretty exciting start so far, but just like I said, it's yeah, just like I said, looking forward to seeing how the race is going to unfold in this one. But like I said, waiting for a couple more people just to get their updates all sorted, and we'll be jumping into the session very shortly. So yes, like I said, just getting everybody sorted and ready to get going. Oh, no, I don't want to write that. So yeah, we're just gonna have a brief pause before we can get going, unfortunately. So we can just sit tight for a few seconds, hopefully a few seconds, maybe a couple of more minutes, just to about 7:35 or so. It looks like Equaz is keen to get started, but unfortunately we're still waiting because we have to at least give them an opportunity to join the lobby. Of course, that is. Otherwise, it's a bit unfair. Yeah, like I said, it's just a bit unfortunate the update decided to come as it did. Like I said, we're just waiting for the last couple of people just to get themselves into the session. So won't be too long now. So stay tuned to the stream. We'll be able to get started very shortly. I should have just started the stream a bit later, really, shouldn't I? But that's there we go. So yes, we're just getting the last few updates done and dusted. And then we'll be in a few seconds. So yes, not too long now. And here we go. So right, we're just about to get started in the next few moments. I believe it sounds like everyone's updates are almost done. So yeah, good stuff indeed. Like I said, at the 8th round of the season, it's going to be an exciting one, this circuit. Of course, the Land of Fire, as Azerbaijan is known as. So looking forward to seeing what the action will be like on the track. We saw quite a lot of action in gold last night. It was an absolute chaotic race all over the place. Thankfully, I wasn't involved in the shenanigans, as we people having problems with their updates. So yeah, like I said, fingers crossed they can get themselves into the session in the qualifying time. That is, of course, there's a bit more time for them to get themselves in the next few moments or so. But yeah, like I said, at the moment we've got a couple of people just waiting for, and hopefully they'll be in for the start of the race at least. But nonetheless, we are into the session now. I think we are anyway. Yeah, we should be. There we go. We have got the cars in the garages nicely, very nicely done indeed. Good stuff. So good. We are underway. Finally, I'm sorry for that small delay. And we are now going to get cracking for the ALR Silver Season 5 Round 8 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So like I said, stay tuned for this one. It's going to be an epic race, of course, as we have seen before in the last few races. Land of fire, not wind, says Sean. Yeah, that sounds more correct. So there we go. Let's put everyone's tires and whatnots on the screen. Good stuff indeed. So yeah, like I said, getting the qualifying format just underway now. We have got Favre saying he's first in the comment section, and then Serious Mushroom says first the worst, second the best, and I'm a dirty mushroom, says Serious Mushroom. They're good stuff indeed. Unfortunately for Bradfield and Dan Murphy, they've decided to lose their car keys as well, so that's not going to be good for them. Land of fire, not of wind, says Ginger Age. Shall we go, says Favre. It's not your call, mate. I'll put the update in Discord, says Serious Mushroom. Again, it's not your call, mate. And then Josh, go on Craig. So supporting the McLaren driver of Craig tonight is Josh in the comment section. Good luck to Craig, of course. Good luck to all the drivers. I wish everyone could win. It would be easier for me as well if everyone just won and I can just total up the points that way. But unfortunately, that is not the way Formula One works. And yes, that is it. So let me just sort out this audio a bit because it's got a bit quiet for me. Fingers crossed that works a bit better now. So yes, looking forward to seeing what the drivers can do in this one, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting one tonight. I would bet. So yes, good stuff indeed. And now Equaz now coming through. I think he's the first driver out on track. So we'll stay tuned with Equaz as he's going to be taking us through a lap of Azerbaijan very, very shortly. He has got a company from Craig, I think it is, behind him, or Florin that is, I'm not sure. It's one of the McLaren drivers. One of the Red Bull drivers has had a bit of a problem there getting through turn 2 on his out lap, which is not good news. So hopefully they can recover the car and get that car sorted and get themselves underway, as yeah, they have got themselves out of turn 2 now. It's quite easy to run off there and get sort of stuck in the runoff area. It's quite difficult. Then it's easy to do it in real life, to flick spin the car and get back pointing in the right direction, but it's not so easy in the game actually to get yourselves out of that spot. But thankfully the Red Bull, whoever it was, has got themselves sorted. Now we've got Equaz there coming through the final real corner, I would say, because the S's we have got coming up through here. I don't count as a proper. They're not a proper turn, I don't think, because you're literally going flat out anyway. You don't have to let off the throttle unless you've got wing damage, that is, which hopefully we won't see too much of tonight. But we can't guarantee that because it's quite an easy track to pick up some damage on, isn't it? As we've seen in Gold as well last night. So yeah. So there's lots of potential for a bit of wing damage and for a few tyres to go missing in this on this circuit. But yeah, we'll see if that's going to be the case, of course, in this event, in this race. Fingers crossed for myself anyway that it won't be. But we'll have to find out, as we've got Brabbit there who's decided to go onto the intermediate compound tyres, so that might cause him a few problems through the castle section. But we'll see what he can do on his flying lap as Equaz now comes through turn 3 and heads towards the next sector 2, which is a lot more 90-degree turns, as we've seen quite a lot of 90-degree turns already, to be fair, through sector 1, but a lot more 90-degree turns, a lot more treacherous turns as well, as the castle section is looming. You go into the very shaded part of the circuit now. Of course, there's a lot of the old town buildings that surround this circuit, and unfortunately there's a yellow flag somewhere. I think there's somebody who's had a problem in the pit lane. Reflection, looks like, unfortunately for him. So that is him done and dusted. But yeah, here comes Equaz now coming out of the castle section, now heading towards the final sort of few corners, a few proper corners, I should say. This is a difficult one to get right as well. Downhill towards the left, making sure he don't go into the wall on the exit. It is he's managed to do it very nicely indeed, just clipping the curb on the exit there. Looking very suave at the moment is the Aston Martin driver, purple of course, as he is the first driver to set the time in this session so far. And now coming through the S's section as well, the fuel light is flashing. It's only 2.5 litres of fuel for a flying lap around here, but he's managing to do it very nicely indeed. As I've got a sneeze. Sorry about that. Perfect timing, and it crosses the line there with a 41.1 to, of course, set the fastest time, the first time on the board for tonight's qualifying session. Florin there comes across the line in P2 to get himself back into the McLaren. Of course, he missed the last race in Monaco, so hoping to see what he can do in Azerbaijan tonight. Let's have a look and see who's going to be coming across the line next. So unfortunately, Fangio has aborted his time there. He's abandoned his time, and that is not going to be any time set on the board just yet for the championship protagonist, who's currently in P2 in the championship as well. Craig R does a 41.6 there. He's just about a tenth and a half behind his teammate currently. Good stuff indeed from Craig R, looking to get himself up the order for this qualifying format. Farf has found his car keys, which is quite early for Farf in the qualifying session. He's going through the castle section now, looking very good indeed. Let's have a look and see who's going to be next across the line, though. It's Cassell there goes fastest there by almost 5 tenths of a second there. Fantastic lap time indeed. Potsev there slots himself up into P2. Good stuff indeed from both those drivers there, looking good in the qualifying format. Of course, Equaz is no slouch. Neither of the McLarens as well. Kamara there from his pole position in Monaco last week is looking to extend that run, and then going back up to pole position as it stands at the moment. They're in the Ferrari there by almost a tenth of a second to Cassell. Both Cassell and Kamara are doing a good job in qualifying, and of course we saw as Farf has retired in the S's section. I think that is not good news for Farf. He's had a smash there coming through the S's section, and that is him out of qualifying, done and dusted, and that will be him sitting in the garage for the next few minutes. As around the final corner goes Equaz there. You can see the AlphaTauri there in front of him. You can just drive through it. It is a ghost car, so you don't have to worry about that. But there we go. So Equaz there just getting himself through. Farf there having a massive smash coming through the S's section, and that is him out of qualifying. We've got already 4 drivers out of qualifying and only 17 on the grid at the moment. Unfortunately, hopefully there's going to be a couple more to join in the next few minutes or so before qualifying finishes, that is. But if anybody can sort them out in the Discord, that would be great, because we need to get, of course, I think it's Spiky Pineapple, Ultimate Beast and VTOD to get into their cars, but I think they might just be having issues with their updates. But here he comes, Dopey Lemons, who hasn't had a problem with his update. He's got himself into the session, doing up very nicely and up to the line. What's he going to be for the Alpine driver? Of course, doing a good job in the Alpine since he got into the seat full time and up to P2 there in the Alpine as well for Dopey Lemons. Good stuff indeed. A 40.6 there, just puts him only just behind Kamara Racer on the front row of the grid currently as well. Good stuff indeed from Dopey Lemons there. Nice qualifying from him. And let's see what is next to come from the rest of the drivers. I think a few drivers now coming back into the pits after their first flying laps. Brabbit there has done a 46.3. That's pretty good actually on the intermediates, I would say, compared to the rest of the drivers who set a time as well. I'd expect the intermediates to be a bit slower than that, but good stuff indeed from Brabbit, making sure he goes through the S's there just carefully enough to not have a farf or do a farf, that would be. So yeah, good stuff indeed. So like I said, unfortunately for Farf, Dan Murphy, Reflection and Bradfield, they're not going to be able to set a time in this qualifying format, qualifying session that is. So that is going to be it for them, and I think, like I said, a few drivers now just coming back to the pit lane now. Fangio is not coming back to the pit lane. He's starting his first flying lap. Of course, he abandoned his first flying lap, so now this is his first one, hopefully in anger, that will be able to put a time on the board from this one. Let's have a look and see if there's any update from anybody in the Discord of who's joining as well, but nobody is coming into the race just yet, unfortunately. So there we go. Bad news bears for everybody there, but nonetheless we'll have to crack on. So hopefully, like I said, the rest of the drivers can do a good job to put on a show, but I'm sure Silver will be able to put on a show, as Nigel is also on his outlap. Both these drivers, Fangio and Nigel, the current championship protagonists. Nigel there leading the way by 43 points to Fangio, and looking to extend his championship lead, but can Fangio fight back? We have heard as well, big news in the paddock for Silver, that Nigel is going to be having a couple of weeks off. So he's going to be on holiday for a few weeks, or a couple of weeks that is, so he's going to be missing at least 2 races in the near future. So I think it might be after this one, potentially after Canada next week. So Fangio might be able to claw back some championship points in his favour, and maybe even swing the championship in his favour as well, if he can get some wins under his belt in the next few races too. So stay tuned to Silver. There's going to be some action in the championship, I think, and Fangio will have something to say about Nigel's lead as much as he can, at least, and try and claw back as many points as he can whilst Nigel is away in the next few races. So yeah, that is the news in the paddock for Silver at the moment, as Fangio now comes around at the S's section and up to the line. What's he going to do here? It's going to be close, I think, actually, to a 39. We saw the 38s there, didn't we, in qualifying in the gold race last night, but it's a 39.6 there. Wow, that is amazing from Fangio. That is almost 9/10 faster than Kamara Racer in P2. That is a pretty good lap time indeed from Fangio, and I think he's going to be very happy with that one as well. Let's see what Nigel can do. Of course, the championship leader coming down the final couple of corners towards the start of Sector 3, which is pretty much just flat out is Sector 3. You go through the S's section, of course, but it is flat out with a front wing, and of course down to the start-finish line where the pit entry is as well. But everyone has got through there so far, apart from Favre, very nicely in this qualifying session. Smithy Almighty has also had a problem, I think, and had an issue there on his lap as Florin. No, it's Craig R. Craig R's had an issue coming around the final corner there, and he needs to get himself reversed and sorted out as Nigel there just goes up into P2. Sorry, that P2, I missed that completely. So I've got another Steege coming, sorry. Bear with me 1 second. Managed to mute the mic in that time. But yeah, Nigel there puts himself up into P2 there. He's 2.5, well, almost 3/10 actually off of his rival there, Fangio. Fangio looking good indeed in the qualifying session so far, and up into P1 and P2, both the championship title fighters are in the top 2 spots. But let's see what everyone else can do. Of course, I think there'll be a few more challenges in the next few minutes. And there we go. As we've got, got a few more people to set a time as well, or set a more competitive time. I think Brabbit is one of them, of course, but we'll find out what they're going to be doing in the next few stages of this race. But round at the final couple of corners we go. For Nigel as well, just looking to cruise back into the pits now on his in lap. Of course, we've seen a few incidents on people's out laps and in laps in this session already, and in gold, of course, last night. So yeah, again, it was very eventful in Azerbaijan, and I'm sure it will carry on being eventful in Azerbaijan in the next few races. Of course, bronze will be here tomorrow night as well at 7:30 as Florin there goes up into P6. Good stuff indeed from Florin. And I think there's something, I'm allergic to something in my room. It must be the clean smell, because I'm going to sneeze once again. Here we go then, good stuff. I think it's, yeah, it must be the clean smell that's coming from the lovely washed clothes that I have done today, which is, yeah, my exercise and my my hard work for today, cleaning my clothes. I have a washing machine to do it for me, really. But there we go. So Kamara Racer has abandoned his time. He's come back into the pits there. Cassell is also in the pits still. Dopey Lemon's on an out lap, looking to just come around to start the flying lap now. Has he got enough time to do 2 flying runs here? I'm not quite sure. Of course, we saw, I would say, actually, in terms of the fuel, if you put enough fuel in, you have enough fuel to do 2 runs, but I'm not sure the ERS will allow you to do 2 runs back to back. So we'll have to wait and see if anyone's going to try and attempt that, of course. I think there might be only 5 minutes left. I think it might be quite tight to get in another run. Here comes Brabbit, though, up to the line on the soft compound tyres this time. What can he do here in the Mercedes? Is up to P3 there. Good stuff indeed from Brabbit there. A 40.256 there, puts himself comfortably on the second row of the grid at the moment. And of course he has got time as well, I think, to get himself back to pits and sort himself out another new set of tyres to go once again. Let's have a look. We had DMAC there jumping up to P5. Good stuff indeed from DMAC up into the third row, that is, and now onto a 40.493 there for the Alpine driver. Both the Alpine driver is looking good in this qualifying session so far. Unfortunately, like I said, washing machines live longer with Calgon, says Ginger Rage. Thanks very much there, Ginger Rage, but I haven't got any Calgon, so you'll need to get me some, and I will put it in my washing machine. But there we go, as we're going to have We've got Craig Hart now coming through the S's section, the final part of the lap. I think he's just starting a lap, though that fuel light is already flashing, it looks like, on my screen. So I'm not quite sure what the idea is here. But nonetheless, he's going to start his lap now and yeah, get himself underway. There we go. Good stuff from Craig R. And let's have a look and see who's going to be next to cross the line. I think it's a Red Bull of pot stuff. He's just cruising back to the pit lane as it stands at the moment, and I think that's the same for Dopey Lemons as well. No, it's not. Dopey Lemons is on a flying lap here. He's gone purple in sector 2. That is looking promising indeed for the Alpine driver. Otmar is going to be very happy with that if he can cross the line in P1. Let's have a look and see what you can do now down the main straight. Of course, there's a lot of time to be gained down the main straight, depending on your wing adjustments and of course your roll bars and all that sort of thing. He goes up to P5. He overtakes his teammate there of DMAC there. Dopey Lemons now. Dopey Lemons and DMAC in the Alpine. Good stuff indeed. And they're both currently locking out row 3 on the grid. Cracking stuff indeed. So let's have a look next. Who's going to be crossing the line? I think it's going to be Kamara Racer now. Nope, he's going to be starting his lap. I think Cassell is going to be starting his lap as well as he goes across the line again. Craig R, of course, we saw start his other lap, and we've got Fandra there just ahead of us, but he's starting his out lap now. So let's have a look and see what Craig R can do. Can he improve from a 41.616? He's already up by almost 0.4 of a second. That would put him, well, that would keep him in currently in P11, but we'll see what he can do. Can he make any improvements down the next straight, which of course is the final sector and the final straight towards the finish line, the start finish line that is, and now down into the final part of the circuit, well, up to the final part of the circuit technically, and across the line. It's going to be an improvement there from Craig R, I think, but only by 2.5 tenths unfortunately for Craig R. That keeps him P11 for the time being, and I think that is going to be his highest result, I think, unless he can save up a bit of ERS and he's got enough fuel on board to go again, and he's going to have to try and save some ERS now on this lap. Yellow flag in sector, oh, it's a yellow flag for Kamara, I think it is, or is it for an Aston Martin of Equaz? It might have been Equaz just getting out of the way there, I think, potentially. Yeah, that fuel light is flashing there on the on that car. Dopey Lemons is coming up to the line now. Again, what can he do? I think he's coming into the pit lane. He is coming in the pit lane there, so he's decided to call it a day now in this qualifying session. Not going to be qualifying higher than P6 in this event, and we're going to be cracking on now. Unfortunately, we've got we were expecting another reserve there to join us as well, but he's not joined in time. So that is him. Oh, he has joined in time. That's good stuff. Hopefully he can get himself in the car before the race starts. And like I said, hopefully we can get at least... we've got 18 on the grid, yeah. DMAC has retired. I think that is... Where is that? No, it is... Is it on track? I don't think it is. I think it's in the pit lane. So DMAC there, no heart. I think he's actually out somewhere, but I can't quite see where the car is because the car's disappeared. Kamara Racer puts himself up into P2 there with a 39.8 there, 8.79 there. He's just ahead of Nigel at the moment. Of course, Nigel is now on a flying lap as well, so that will come back to Nigel potentially. He's going to have to gain just over that is 7 thousandths of a second to beat Kamara Racer's time. Let's have a look and see what the Haas of Fandro is going to be doing. He's going to be coming up into the pits there. He's decided to call it a day. Not cross the line on those tyres. He's decided to save them a bit. Well, not really saved them much, has he, unfortunately, but that is going to be that's it for Fanjo, and he's going to have to see if Nigel is going to be able to pip him to the post in this qualifying session from the pit lane rather than trying to do anything on track. Here comes Brabbit now up to the line. What can Brabbit do on his second run? Or is he just starting a run now? I think he's just starting a run now. Here comes Equaz, nope, sorry, Pot Stuff as well, who's also starting his run too. So there we go. Equaz has retired in the pit lane. I think that's him done and dusted. Here comes Florin up to the line. He's once again just starting a lap as Ultimate Beast has retired in the pit lane. Of course, he has joined in time for the race, that is, though. Craig R just cruising around. I think he is trying to go for another attempt here as Craig R. And it's Irvine's car who's crossed the line. He's not got a front wing at all on that Haas, so I think that is a few issues there. Nigel up to the line is also, he's abandoned his lap time. He's coming back into the pits. Maybe the track conditions have changed and there's not going to be much improvements on their lap times at this stage of the qualifying session. Unfortunately, it seems like all the drivers are abandoning their lap time on the final attempt, which makes it very anticlimactic for ourselves, but nonetheless, we have got a fantastic race that will be coming up very, very shortly. Into the pits goes Kamara Racer, making sure not to get in the wall there, as it's very easy to do in the pit entry here. Let's have a look and see who's going to be next across the line, as Kamara there does retire from the session. Craig R is on a push lap still. I think he did add some extra fuel into that McLaren to see if he can try and get to the line, get an improvement under his belt. Let's see what he can do now, coming through the S's section and down to the start-finish line once again. We're very tight to the wall there. I think he might have clipped the wall there, actually, which will cost him a bit of time there, and he's now weaving down the straight. I think that's him done and dusted in this session. And we'll have to look and see what Brabbitt can do now. Brabbitt now round the final corner. He has got the fuel light flashing as well. He's got some ERS still to play with just about. And now up to the line, what can Brabbitt do? Can he improve on a 40.2? It's a 39.8 there. Puts himself P3 ahead of the championship leader Nigel. Potstuff as well has improved to a 39.6 there. Puts himself on the front row of the grid as it stands. Great stuff indeed. Let's see what Florin can do as he comes round the SSSLs. Currently Potstuff on the front row. Brabbitt there improves to row 2 into P4. Nigel, the championship leader, in P5. Florin, I think, is abandoning his time, and that is him done and dusted as well. So that is qualifying over for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And that is it. Equaz there says nice final laps as well in the comment section. Of course, Equaz unfortunately didn't go back out at the... Well, I think he did go back out, but he went out a bit too early there, if my memory serves me correctly. That's probably wrong. And yeah, then unfortunately had to just watch from the pit lane as the other drivers around him improved, and he's now sitting in P6 on the grid. But nonetheless, I'm sure he can do something good in the race. So right, that's good stuff indeed. I'm going to have another break because I'm about to sneeze once again. Good stuff indeed. There's your classification then for the qualifying of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Fangio takes the top spot, the pole position in the Haas, back onto the top step once again. He'll be liking to finish there as well. Looking like he needs to get some good points under his belt to contend with Nigel in the championship lead, of course. Potstuff there on row 2, in P2 on the front row. Looking good indeed. Only less than a tenth off of Fangio's time. Kamara Racer there in P3. Once again, another good qualifying from Kamara. Brabbitt in P4. Another fantastic qualifying from him as well. Nigel, our championship leader, in P5. Equaz as well in P3 in the championship. Currently in P6 on the grid. Dopey Lemons and DMAC there on row 4 of the grid in the Alpine. And then Cassell and Florent make up the top 10. So good stuff indeed. We'll be into the race itself very, very shortly. Oh, blimey. Look at that then. That is not what I was expecting. We have, like I said, I think Ginger Rager said it in the commentary for Gold last night. We haven't had a real life rain affected Azerbaijan Grand Prix before, but we have had quite a few in ALR, and it looks like tonight we're going to be having another one, as the rain is definitely falling in the pit lane, at least around the circuit, as the drivers are now getting their strategies and their tyres and everything sorted. I think we might be starting on a few of the intermediate compound tyres as it looks at the moment, but that might be wrong. But for me, that would definitely be intermediate weather, at least at this stage of the event. But the weather there might change, of course, throughout the race. Good luck also, Serious Mushroom. I think he didn't know about the weather either. And I think here we go then for the formation lap. We'll have a look and see what the tyres are everybody's on. And there we go. We have got everybody on the intermediate compound tyres to start this race. That is, wow. Oh my, says Ginger Age. Yes, I think that's exactly what my thoughts were as well when we saw the pit lane there. And yeah, that is a very wet start to the race indeed. It says that it's going to be inters, strategies inters to inters, or three stops, all of them intermediate. So potentially that means that we're going to have rain throughout the whole race. I'm not quite sure if that's correct or not. Again, the strategy is probably it's done by Codemasters, so it's probably incorrect and very inaccurate as well. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have to wait and see what the driver's going to be doing here, because like I said, there might be a few instances through this race where we might see a few coming together because of the conditions rather than anything else. Now, we weren't expecting it to be the land of fire, as I was saying at the beginning of the stream. The land of fire, we don't expect to have a bit of rain to ruin our races, but nonetheless, the umbrellas are out in the stands, and that is it, done and dusted. We've got a bit of rain to start this race. Will it dry up, and how quickly will it dry up as well? Because we might wonder if any have wet setups on. So Serious Mushroom in the comment section as well. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to find out. Yeah, well, we'll have to find out when we speak to them afterwards, hopefully. Yeah, fingers crossed everyone can get through the first few laps unscathed. That is, because it's going to be very difficult, I think, this one to get to the start finish line without having a few wing changes, without any accidents, I don't think, because it's going to be quite a treacherous race to take part in. Nonetheless, here comes Fandro there. Of course, Fandro in P1, on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Potstuff in P2. Kamara Racer there, P3. Once again, a good qualifying from him. Brabbit as well in P4. Nigel there in P5. Equaz P6. Dopey Lemons there in P7, along with his teammate in P8 of DMAC. Cassell there in P9, and Florent rounds up the top 10. Then we've got Craig R in P11, Farf, who had a big smash through the S's section in P12. And then we had Dan Murphy in P13, Ultimate Beast, who just about got in the car in time in P14, Smithy in P15, Reflection in P16, Bradfield in P17, and Irvine there again, who we saw cross the line in qualifying, but without a front wing. So that he unfortunately didn't get a time on the board. Means that he is starting from the back of the grid in P18. Unfortunately for V Todd and Spiky Pineapple, or Kart Boy, as we know him in F1 racing, they did not get into the session, so I'm not quite sure if that's a technical difficulty from Codemasters' end or if they just didn't wake up in time, but hopefully they can let us know after the race. Good stuff indeed. Right, Fandro is lined up on the grid. We're just waiting for his teammate of the other Haas of Irvine to get himself on the grid, although he's met a wall instead. Thankfully, that's not disqualified him, and he can still line up in his grid box. There we go. Then into the grid slot we go for Irvine then, and away we get going. I think let's have a look, and we'll turn off the HUD, and 5 red lights are on in Azerbaijan. Potstuff's got a drive-through start there from P2. He's got a great start indeed, of course, with that extra jump, but unfortunately that is going to cost him a drive-through in this race. Through turn 1 we go, and Fandro there, of course, has lost out, but of course Fandro didn't have a jump start, as Potstuff has let him back through, I think, which is good news for Fandro. He can really get himself going again. Everyone's got through nicely so far. I think Farf there trying to get through quickly as quickly as possible there. He's already up into P8 there for the AlphaTauri team. Brabbit has dropped down to P7. He's been overtaken by Dopey Lemons there. Good start from Dopey Lemons and from Farf as well. Farf has done the best start so far, up to 5 places. Potstuff has been passed by Equaz now, and he's dropping down the order. I think Equaz might have a problem with his setup as well, potentially. I don't think there's any damage to him. Ultimate Beast is up 5 places as well. We've got past DMAC there for P9 there. He's got past the Alpine driver just about into Sector 2 they go. This is where it gets dangerous as well, especially in these conditions, but they've done a good job battling still side by side through here, and that is going to cost them a bit of time as well. DMAC, they've got a McLaren there flying off in the background. Florin there losing a position now to Dan Murphy with that loss of traction on the exit of that corner there as well. Through into Sector 2 they go. Can everyone make it through the castle section in one piece? And it looks like it so far, as they go flying through here at some speed still, even in the wet conditions. It's been a great start indeed. Everyone's got through unscathed so far, and looking good at the moment there. Dopey Lemons and Dopey Lemons and Farf are putting themselves about and getting themselves under pressure now is Dopey Lemons, it looks like, on the timing screens. Oh, it's deep on the brakes there from Dopey Lemons. That is going to cost. There's a wing damage there. There's a bit of wing, and into the wall goes a Mercedes as well. I'm not quite sure if that was Dopey Lemons going into the wall there with the front wing damage. Now Farf's got past him for P6, or if it was Nigel who pushed into the wall there. I think everyone's front wing looks intact to me, but we did see some debris there on the exit of the turn as well, so I'm not quite sure if there is wing damage for somebody. Yeah, there is definitely wing damage now, because somebody's gone through there. Potstuff there, there's still wings flying off all over the place, unless I'm mistaken, unless it's debris or something else, some leaves flying about. Potstuff there slowing down, as we've got what's happened here? We've had a reflection there at the back of the grid. He's off the circuit. There is Reflection. Is there a safety car? Reflection just needs to just get himself back underway, as he's having a bit of trouble there getting the car turned around. He doesn't need to worry about his front wing because his front wing is completely missing. And Irvine, Brabbit and Potstuff all in the pit lane. I don't think Potstuff's going to actually be able to use that as a chance to serve his drive-through penalty there. He is not, unfortunately for him. So he's had to make a change now onto a newer set of intermediate compound tyres. Of course, only one lap completed. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what happened there to Reflection, but it was all going really well that lap. It was an absolutely epic opening lap as well, as the timing delta is all over the place now. But hopefully that will get them sorted out when they get past the safety car. We're just waiting for Ultimate Beast, and no, we're not waiting for Brabbit, sorry, to catch up to the safety, to get themselves past the safety car queue. The safety car now is lined up at the exit of turn 2, waiting for the race leader, who of course did already go past the pit lane exit before the safety car could come out. So now the safety car has to wait for them to come round another lap as the deltas are through. But Eager Beaver says Serious Mushroom, I think, referring to Potstuff's jump start there. Unfortunately for Potstuff, that has cost him dear as well. Coming into the pits at this stage of the race as well has also meant he's down in P15 with that drive-through still to serve as well. Which is not good news. Reflection has got past the safety car queue, which is safety car itself, sorry, as Cassell picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car as well. Not good news for Cassell. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but again, it can be, like I said, if that's an issue, then a glitch or something, then we can look at that after the race, that will be. But of course, you need to have the footage for it as well. But yeah, that is an odd one, that, because I'm not quite sure, unless he literally was just speeding and didn't have an eye on the delta, then that would of course cost him his drive-through at this stage of the race. Cassell there and Potstuff still have their drive-throughs to serve, of course, which they can't serve under safety car. So they will have to wait for the restart of the race at least. Across the line goes Equaz now. Hopefully the Deltas will start sorting themselves out. Yes, they have started to sort themselves out, which is good news indeed. And now through into turn 1 they go. So good stuff indeed. Fangio there is caught up to the safety car queue now, which is good. Good news. Reflection there is struggling. Looks like, I think he's had a bit of a problem there coming through the castle section as well. Thankfully no damage. It looks like on. Oh, is there damage? I think there might be. No, there isn't any damage there on the Rebel, but he's just going very, very slowly indeed at this moment in time. Hopefully he can get himself back into the safety car queue. Brabbit is back in the pit lane, as is Potstuff as well. Let's see what's going on here. Are they going to change tyres potentially and go onto the wet compound tyres, or are they going to go for dries even? Maybe it's already given them the call to go onto the dry compound tyres. Onto more intermediates goes Potstuff, and the same I think for Brabbit as well. So both of them coming back into the pits again for another set of intermediate compound tyres. So that's 2 stops already in this race for both of these drivers, and both of them, or every time they've stopped for more intermediate compound tyres. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is for these guys. Potentially, if it is going to be like these conditions for the whole race, do you reckon they can get to the end on one set of inters from lap 3? It would be a bit of a push, I would imagine, but we'll see what they can do. Of course, the talented drivers that they are, Potstuff and Brabbit, we've seen from them before what they can do. So then we will see what they can. We'll see then potentially if they can get themselves back up the order in this race. Serious Mushroom said Potstuff will get disqualified. I don't think he will. He might do. I hope he doesn't. But yeah, fingers crossed he doesn't, because that would be very very mean indeed. But I think the safety car, like I said, if we can catch up to the safety car queue very soon, we can get ourselves back in this race. But back underway with this race, I should say. But I don't think it will be this lap, unfortunately, because I don't think the McLarens, the Hasses, the Mercedes, and the Red Bulls are close enough at this stage to warrant the safety car coming back into the pit lane, unfortunately. Right then. So yes, like I said, just waiting for the safety car to catch up the back of the queue now, and like I said, we're just waiting for the other drivers at the back of the queue, sorry, to catch up to the safety car. Really, the safety car doesn't have to catch anybody. It needs to make sure that everybody is maintaining the same pace, or thereabouts or so. As a Reflection, I think it's just really having problems getting through this circuit. He's not having a great time indeed at this point of the race, but hopefully, like I said, it will swing back in his favour. We've seen Reflection there have some great results so far this season as well, so looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Silver Season 5 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But like I said, we've got another lap under the safety car here. It looks like potentially, if Reflection can catch up, we could have the safety car in this lap. But yeah, I'm not sure if Reflection's having a good time out there at the moment, and I think maybe having a dry setup on that car potentially, we might be wrong there. Might having a dry setup on that car as he's had a problem there coming through the S's again. There has reflection going slow, super slow, and that is really what's costing everybody the race at the moment. Is reflection's car just not being able to handle going through this track in these conditions at the moment. Unfortunately, he's just having massive problems there keeping the car in the right direction at the moment. It looks like, which is not good news for the Red Bull driver and for his team. But like I said, hopefully with the weather conditions around here, we can see some changes potentially. We'll find out if there's going to be any changes to the conditions, of course, very shortly. The rain seems to be going sideways at the moment, which is probably not good news if you want the rain to dry up. Because I think the sideways rain, although it's just decided to change now, it's now going the normal way. But yeah, you can see reflection. They're really struggling. I'm not quite sure what is going on with that Red Bull, but he's got massive problems there. He's not got any wing damage, doesn't look like, but he's just got massive issues trying to get the power down in that Red Bull, and that is really costing him. He's not even able to catch up to the safety car queue at this stage. So it is just showing the pace that Red Bull is lacking at the moment in this race. Yeah, not good news at all for reflection or for Red Bull. But yeah, like I said, hopefully he can get himself back into this queue, into this race, so we can get ourselves underway. And once again, going through the castle section, he's just struggling so much there. Is that Red Bull? I'm not quite sure what is going on. If that is I don't think that's a dry setup even, because I think even a dry setup would be a lot faster than this. So I'm thinking there's something else going wrong with that Red Bull. Unfortunately for reflection, he's not having a good time at all at this stage. He has just about caught up to the back of the queue, I think. So that is good news indeed. Potentially that safety car will come in now, but it might be a bit of a late call here, which will be not good news for the race leaders, I don't think. Anjo there is going to be taking this away, but I don't think it's going to be coming in this lap. It is way too late now if it is going to be doing that. No, he's decided to go past the pit lane, so once again we have to wait for another lap. So yeah, this is good news, I suppose, for the likes of Brabham and Potstuff. If they are going to be going to the end of the race on those intermediate compound tyres, that is good news, because they're not putting a lot of pressure through those tyres at this stage. Of course, the speed is a lot slower under the safety car as reflection is coming into the pits again. I'm not quite sure what the strategy call here is for reflection, but he's coming back into the pits there, and he's going to be getting his Red Bull team back out. He's got a front wing change there, it looks like. I'm not quite sure, because he didn't have a front wing. He didn't have any front wing damage on my screen, but he has got a front wing change nonetheless. I think that might have been what's holding him up. But he has now got himself serviced, and he's going to be getting himself back out of the pit lane. Hopefully that is what the problem was, because he didn't see any damage on the screen. Burnt making up for Monaco, says Serious Russian. No, I don't think so. I think it was just because reflection wasn't in the safety car queue, and now he's going to have to hopefully catch up to the safety car queue on this lap, because I think it will be in regardless now on this lap anyway. But that is good news potentially for reflection, because if like we were saying, the Inters can go to the end from here, then that means that reflection is on the freshest tyres of the grid, and that will of course be come back in his favour, of course, later on in this race. If that is the case, we'll have to wait and see how far the Inters can get. If anybody wants to jump into a quick Grand Prix on the game and do a quick test for us and put the results in the comment section, that would be great. But like I said, we've got the 18 drivers still on track, and now just waiting for reflection to catch up to the safety car queue as we go through the castle section now. But I think he will be caught up. I think there was wing damage there for the Red Bull, which has now been resolved, and now he can catch up to the queue as well. But yeah, good stuff indeed. I think potentially reflection was just staying out as he goes really slowly once again through the castle section. So he's not liking that castle section at all, is he? So yeah, he's like I said, got himself back underway finally. The safety car is now going to be in this lap. It's given up waiting for reflection because, like I said, it's been out for 3 laps already. So now Fanjo is the de facto safety car leader. Ekraz has got himself up into P2 already, which is great news indeed for himself in the championship. But let's have a look and see what he can do now from this restart. Of course, Fanjo will need to time it right, and of course it's not so bad in the rain because there's no DRS or anything like that to worry about. Or in the next few laps, of course, we did hear as well yesterday that they're going to be testing out testing out the DRS being reintroduced after just 1 lap rather than 2 laps after a safety car. But that will be a test for next season in real life F1, so I don't think we'll have it in the game, unfortunately. or fortunately, depending on which way you want to look at it. But there we go then, as Fangio now is going to be leading us back down the main straight, but going at a snail's pace at this stage because he doesn't want to restart too early. He's gone though now, and he's caught out a couple of drivers there. He's caught out Equaz massively and Camaro. Here comes Nigel now in P4. He's going to try and get himself round the outside there of the Ferrari, it looks like, as well, into turn 1. He's got the move done. No, he hasn't, as Camaro's come back down the inside massively there. Fantastic move indeed from Camaro, getting that P3 back from Nigel, the championship leader, and they're battling away now into turn 2. Camaro goes a bit wide there, and that has cost him. He's cost that position now. He's lost the position of both the AlphaTauris down into P5. There is Camaro. Has he got damage? I don't think so. Hopefully he's all right in that car, as Cassell's got himself past as well. Florin up into the points now as Cassell, but of course he's got that drive through to serve. Camaro has gone off into the runoff area there. He's gone really deep there. Farf has also had an issue in the braking zone as well. I think there might have been a coming together between Farf and Camaro. Camaro's retired. I think he's just retired in the runoff there. I'm not quite sure why. I don't think, his car's not moving, so he must have had a bit of he must have tried to spin the car around and smashed a wheel off. Unfortunately for Camaro, and that is him done and dusted. The algorithm keeps suggesting ALR streams to you. I think that's because it's sending you a message to watch ALR streams. In my personal opinion, that is. You don't have to, but we appreciate it if you do. So yeah, welcome along, Zach, to the stream, and yeah, stay tuned to for more ALR action. Like I said, we had gold last night, which was an absolute epic. And then we have silver tonight, which looks like it's going to be another epic as well. And then, of course, bronze will be taking you through Azerbaijan for the final time as well, in round 8 for the final time, like I said, tomorrow night as well. So stay tuned to ALR for that. And then, of course, the 100% race is back in Canada as well on Wednesday night, as into Farf goes very deep on the brakes there. That is a very late move. Well, not a very late move, but a very poor move. I think very poorly calculated from the AlphaTauri driver there, unfortunately. As thankfully Cassell managed to get through unscathed. But Farf is having issues there. The S's section once again catching him out, and Florin now up into P9. He's got the move done. Eckhuizen has got the fastest lap of the race there, but look at Fangio. He's checked out in the lead there. He's now 3.4 seconds in front. Ultimate Beast has been passed, has he, by Dopey Lemons. It's going to be close between the two of them. He's managed to make the move, I think, just about up into P4. Oh dear, Cassell hasn't served his drive-through just yet. Potstuff is in the pits. Craig R is having an issue there. Craig R has gone deep at turn 1. I'm not quite sure what the issue there was for Craig R, but he's managed to get himself back underway. Potstuff is serving his drive-through. Thankfully, he's not been able to get disqualified from Codemasters. And there we go. So yeah, Codemasters haven't disqualified him, and that is good stuff indeed. Cassell is yet to serve his drive-through as well, though, because of course he had picked up his drive-through under the safety car, so he's got a few more laps, I think, under his belt to serve that. But in my professional opinion, I would think you should serve that as soon as possible to get it out of the way before another safety car or VSC comes out and then costs you the Codemasters DSQ. But nonetheless, everyone's done a fantastic job on that restart. As far as I can tell, unfortunately for Craig R, it wasn't too good for him, but he's still within this battle. Smithy and Irvine switching places through Sector 2. Florin and Farf, I think, what's happened to Florin? I think Florin just gone off here. What's happened to Florin? He needs to get himself going. He's got himself finally underway. He's dropped behind his teammate now as Florin, but unfortunately for the McLaren team, it's not looking good at the moment. I think it was just a spin there from the McLaren driver there of Florin before the entrance to the castle section as well. So he's managed to get himself through the castle section nicely indeed. No damage on that McLaren either, I don't think. So both Craig R and Florin have got some work to do now. Oh, sliding through that corner there is Craig. But they've got some work to do now to try and get themselves back into the points-paying positions now for the McLaren team. Potstuff served this drive-through. He's now 10 seconds back at this stage, but we've seen the pace from Potstuff. I think he'll be back within the fight very soon. Fangio sets the fastest lap of the race now from P1, extending that gap already to 5.3 seconds as well. Sorry, more sneezing to come. Cassell there is in the pits, as I think he's serving his drive-through penalty now, which is good news indeed from Cassell. Thankfully, he's not been disqualified or anything. He's going to be coming out quite far down the order there behind the McLarens, but I think he's going to be ahead of Potstuff. Yeah, now he's going to have to focus on his race to see if he can regain that composure. But like I said, he did qualify in the points, so he's got some pace under his belt to potentially get himself back in the points-paying positions in this race. Still a long way to go in Baku, I should say, in Azerbaijan, in Baku as well. Baku is the capital city of Azerbaijan, if nobody knew. But there you go. There's a geography lesson, not a history lesson, that you never needed indeed. So there we go. Good stuff. I wonder if he knows it's Forza. Forza. Yes. Oh, Forza. Right. Yes, I remember Forza. Yes. Nice to see you in the stream, and that's why you're probably being recommended, because of course Forza used to race in ALR, and therefore he is being recommended ALR streams because he is a veteran of ALR. That is some good stuff indeed. Dan Murphy's got himself up into P7. Speaking of veterans of ALR, and one of the founders, of course, of ALR was Dan Murphy. So yeah, he's looking good in silver at the moment in P7. They're recovering from P14, I think, P13 on the grid at the moment in the Aston Martin. So looking good for him at the moment, as I keep saying, at the moment. And Jay Bradfield moved to gold. Says Zach. No, I don't think so. I think he's in silver here. He's looking at we're looking at him on screen there. He's had a bit of a, as he said that, through the corner there, he's had a bit of a clout with the wall. I don't know if that's damage. We did see a bit of debris come off the car. I think potentially that might entice Irvine to get himself past at this stage. But I think the potentially that wing still looks intact from me. But again, we saw that for pot stuff. No, we didn't. We saw it for reflection, didn't we? As Craig R has switched places with his teammate with Florin there through the S's section. DMAC has been passed by Dan Murphy. Now up into P6 is Dan, and getting himself through before turn 1, and now into the next phase of his race, trying to keep up with his teammate, I think, at the moment, who's already got himself up into P2. Nigel's got himself back up into P3. That is the top 3 in the championship, in the top 3 in the race, but of course not in the championship order. Nigel is the championship leader, then Fanjo is in P2, Eckhuis in P3. So currently they're all out of position if you're looking at the championship order, but they're doing a good job in this race nonetheless. Can Nigel get himself back past Eckhuis to limit the damage of the points loss? That currently he would be losing 10 points to Fanjo in the championship race. That means it would be cut down to 33 points, the championship lead for Nigel, but still quite a substantial lead in the nonetheless. Nigel and Dan and DMAC there are the closest battle. No, they're not. There's a lot of battling going on the back of the grid towards this area here. Reflection there is currently up into P12. Brabbit is into P11 as well now, and looking to bear down on the points paying positions as well. But Florin there, Florin, Craig R, Cassell, Smithy Almighty, all of them battling for points here, as Florin has got past Smithy there into before the castle section, and he's got himself up into P13 there. Florin there recovering, of course, after a bit of a spin there on the last couple of laps, and now getting himself back through. Yellow flag as we've got DMAC there off the circuit. He's not off the circuit. He's had a smash there in the wall, and all the drivers there coming through now trying to avoid him. I think they've avoided him very nicely though, and there is left end plate damage there for the Alpine driver. Unfortunately, I think is not too bad timing for DMAC, because if he's going to stay wet for the rest of this race, as Irvine's got himself past Bradfield somehow through there, but like I said, if he's going to stay wet for the rest of this race for DMAC, he can get onto another set of intermediates, get a wing change, and keep going to the end of this race from there. So it's not all doom and gloom there, because of course, like I said, there might be some other things that go wrong for others drivers. Oh, going through there, he's going to scrape the wall. I think he has scraped the wall there, to be honest. There's going to be a bit of paint left on that wall as well, a bit of pink and blue paint, but nonetheless, he's got himself through there unscathed. Bradfield is coming into the pits. I think Bradfield had got wing damage there through the end of sector 2 there. We saw that downhill left-hander where he went into the wall on the exit. I think there's right end plate damage for him, and DMAC is also in the pits as well. I think, like I said, we saw the left end plate damage there for DMAC, I think, coming through the fast part of the end of sector 2, and he's had a bit of a clout with the wall as well. So both these drivers in for a wing change, but like I said, can go to the end, I would expect, on those intermediate compound tyres from here on out. So there we go. Oh, and breathe. There we go. We can have a bit of a rest now. For some reason, my nose is running. So there we go. Smithy there is still on the back of Florin there. Florin's now up into P11. Reflection's got himself back in the points there. Good stuff indeed from Reflection. Like I was saying, if he can get those intermediates for the whole length of the race, well, he's done 5 laps on them so far, so he pitted from lap 5. If he can get them to last 21 laps, he might be able to get some good points here in this race. Because of course, the drivers ahead of him haven't pitted in this one. Although some of them have pitted under the at the very end of the first lap, of course, but I don't know if they'll be able to get to the end on those intermediate compound tyres. Like I said, they might try it. Will they find out? We might find out it's going to be a bit costly though. But nonetheless, at the moment, everybody else is doing a good job so far. Reflection there, just trying to get that gap down to Brabbit as well. Brabbit as well is also doing a good job of trying to get the gap down to Irvine, and it's now just about 1.2 seconds. Florin there is just about bringing the gap down to Reflection there, just under a second now, but of course no DRS in the wet weather conditions, as Fanjo once again sets the fastest lap of the race now. He's almost 10 seconds ahead of Eckhuis in P2. He's extending that lead massively now as Fanjo. He's going great guns in this wet weather conditions. I think he might have a wet weather setup on that car, and I think there's a few other drivers that we saw a reflection earlier struggling at the moment with these conditions on their maybe their dry setups potentially, but we'll have to find out if that is correct or not after the race. But nonetheless, that is what's going on at the moment. Cassell has got himself back up to P14. Well, he's in P14, of course. Pot Stuff as well, having served their drive-throughs, are currently trying to get themselves back in this race, but he's not far off the points positions as it stands at the moment. He's about about 5 seconds or so currently off the points is Cassell. Oh, we've had a bit of an incident there. D-Mac's retired. Where is D-Mac retired? He's actually in. There's a yellow flag. It's a safety car as D-Mac has retired in the S's section of the circuit. Fangio on beast mode, and that is Fangio's lead completely wiped out now with that safety car coming out as well, because unfortunately for a 13.5 second lead for Fangio is going to disappear to nothing as well now with that safety car being brought out for D-Mac, who has visited the wall, and that is him done and dusted now in this race as well. D-Mac and Kamara Race are both out of the session and out of the race, unfortunately for them. As I'm not quite sure, it looked like he was just going to trying to go through the S's section there with D-Mac, and he's gone a bit too fast, lost the car, and there's a wall that's greeted him. Unfortunately for D-Mac there, that is not good news for the Alpine driver out of this race, and that is like I said, very unfortunate for D-Mac, because he was probably going to be able to get back into this race, I think, with the fresh intermediate compound tyres and others further ahead of him yet to pit, or probably making another pit stop. Cassell's picked up another drive-through for speeding under the safety car once again. No, I'm not quite sure what is going on here, because this is absolutely ludicrous from Cassell. If this is an error, then it's an error. But if it's not, then unfortunately it comes down to the driver error rather than anything else. And hopefully that is not the case. That is, and so hopefully he can get himself back underway. He'll have to serve yet again another drive-through penalty, which is probably not going to be good news for him at the end of this safety car stint, because of course, like I said, you can't serve it under the safety car. But I'm not sure what is going on with Cassell. He's got 2 drive-through penalties under safety car on 2 separate occasions. That is not good news. Fangio has pit at the request of Serious Mushroom in the comment section, and comes back out, of course, in P1. Equaz's pit as well. It looks like a lot of drivers are making their pit stops onto the intermediate. Oh, that is intermediate. So I was going to say, I thought that was wet compound tyres there for a second, but they're out into the order. I think Nigel's been jumped there by Ultimate Beast somehow in the pit lane. No, I think that's cost. No, he's just. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Nigel has been jumped there. He was in P3. He's now been jumped into by Ultimate Beast for P3, down into P4. That is the championship leader. Dopey Lemon's back out in P5. Dan Murphy in P6. Irvine in P7. Farf in P8. Bradmit there back out in P9, of course, now on to slightly older tyres, but only by 1 lap. Reflection in P10, of course, as well. Florin in P11. Smithy in P12. Cassell in P13, but with that drive-through penalty to serve, and Craig R in P14, Pot Stuff and Bradfield are going to be out in P15 and 16. Good stuff indeed. Right, I'm not quite sure what is going on, because I keep sneezing, so yeah, sorry about that. I'll have to keep pausing the mic, or muting the mic, that is. So yeah, good stuff. There's another one's coming, so bear. I think I'm coming down with a cold, but there we go then. Like I said, the safety car now has nullified the race once again. We've had is it 2 safety cars, I think, and maybe 1 VSC as well. I'm not quite sure, I've lost count already, but nonetheless, like I said, the drivers are doing a good job in this one, or the rest of the drivers are doing a good job in this one. Unfortunately, Cassell not having a good time with the drive-through penalties, but hopefully he can get that resolved at the after this race. Like I said, if it's a glitch, then we'll have to look into of course resolving that, of course, because like I said, it's not fair on the driver, that is. So all he needs to do is make sure he keeps the footage of it and get it reported after the race. 16 still running in this weather is impressive, says Bradfield. Well, yeah, it's unfortunate we've only got 16 running, because we were hoping that VTOD and Cartboy would be in the session as well to make it a full grid, but unfortunately not. Farf and Irvine switching places, as Irvine is into the pits there. What's this for? I'm not quite sure. It's an unscheduled stop potentially here, unless he's got some damage there on that lap under the safety car. I'm not quite sure what happened to Fanjo. Not to Fanjo. It's his teammate of Irvine. But yeah, like I said, hopefully Cartboy and V Todd can enlighten us as to why they didn't make it, unfortunately. And then big shame there for DMAC coming through the S's section as well. Sorry. Coming through the S's section there, DMAC there had a big smash, and Kamara, we don't know what happened to Kamara, but he was switching places with Favre through turn 3. And then suddenly he was out of the race in the runoff area at the exit, straight ahead of us here at turn 3. He went into this runoff area, as we can see right ahead of us here from Irvine, and yeah, and then somehow retired. So I'm not quite sure what happened to Kamara Racer there, but he has unfortunately out of this race, as is DMAC, like I said. So only 16 runners. Unfortunately, we were expecting, like I said, Cartboy and V Todd to join us as well in this race to make it a full 20, and then we'd still have 18 potentially still running. But we're halfway through the Azerbaijan Grand Prix now. And like I said, we've still got 16 runners, as Serious Mushroom has told us. So he's a good job at counting for Serious Mushroom, because otherwise I'd probably get it wrong. So good stuff indeed. Safety car, I think, will be in this lap. We're just waiting for Bradfield to catch up. And yeah, there we go. And like I said, let's get ourselves back underway in this one. Not sure what is going on with my nose, but my nose is running and I haven't got any tissues, so I have to keep pausing it. But nonetheless, we'll get to the end of the stream and worry about it after then. But so far, so good indeed. We're just waiting for Bradfield, like I said, to catch up to the safety car queue, and then we can get ourselves back underway in this event. But I think, like I said, he's doing his best efforts to keep the safety car out for another lap. The problem he's got there is that he's not really benefiting from this, unfortunately, because everybody else is on the same freshness of tyre as him as well. And and in some cases they're fresher as well, I would say. Unfortunately, the only person who's not in that position is Brabbit, who's got 2 lap old intermediate compound tyres, so it doesn't really make a difference for Brabbit either. So there we go. As I think Bradford coming back in. No, he's not. I thought it was that was the pit lane entry there for some reason, but no. Once again, we're waiting for the safety car to go back round. This is not good news for Cassell. It might actually mean that like I said, if the same situation occurs, that Bradford might end up disqualifying his teammate here, which is not good news for the Alfa Romeo guys, and would lead to a few inquiries, I think, in the pit lane or in the debriefing room, I should say. Like I said, we're on to lap 14 now. I think it'll be in this lap regardless, because we're going to give up a waiting for Bradfield as well, and get ourselves underway in this race. But there we go then. Good stuff indeed. Like I said, the race is now going to be resuming, I think, at the end of this lap. So then once we get started, we're going to have about 12 laps or so of green flag running, potentially, unless there's more safety cars to come, but hopefully not. Yeah, we're going to have green flag running for the next 12 laps or so till the end of this race. And like I said, Cassell has to serve that drive-through penalty at some point, so hopefully he can get himself in very soon. I don't think you can pit when the safety car comes in on the same lap now, still, because I think it doesn't count as a green flag running lap, does it? I think he has to go round again. Hopefully he can go round again before he gets disqualified. That is because, of course, he's been out for a couple of. Well, I think he's been out for 3 laps already now, hasn't he? Under that safety car, so he will need to serve it ASAP. And I think the problem that he's got now is his teammate Bradfield has slowed the safety car down an extra lap, and that's going to cost him potentially his spot in the race, which isn't good news for like I said, for Alfa Romeo. But hopefully Cassell can carry on. And obviously we saw with pot stuff as well, the same issue. So hopefully it won't be any problem, and Cassell can carry on in this race as well. But nonetheless, we are ready to get back racing. The safety car is going to be going away into the pit lane now. And we will be starting this restarting the race again once the safety car has got himself back into the pit lane. So Fanjo now once again leading the restart, of course, being the race leader, that is. Icar's right behind him again. This time Ultimate Beast is in P3. Let's see what he can do. Is Fanjo going to go early this time as well, or is he going to go right to the line once again and try and play a trick on his rivals again? We saw him do a great job on the restart on the last last lap, and yeah, he's looking to try and do that once again as well in this event, and I think he might be looking to get himself started very, very shortly as well. Into out of the S's now they go. They've got quite a lot straight here still to go, but Fangio now just trying to warm up those intermediate compound tyres. Everyone just waiting for the get-go now, and will be underway very, very shortly. Fangio just weaving around, I should say, before he gets his foot down, and just making sure those tyres are warmed up to the max before he drops the hammer. And he has decided to go now, as Cassell trying to get himself up the order already. I think he's going to be coming into the pits to serve that drive-through as well. Dan Murphy's got the jump on Dopey Lemons. Ultimate Beast has been overtaken by Nigel, and now into turn 1 they go. Round the outside goes Beast on those cold intermediates. Oh, that's going to be tight indeed. Dan Murphy's got the move done for P5. Farf and Dopey Lemons switching places as well. Brabbit into P8 as well. Dan Murphy's lost that position now to Dopey Lemons as well. I'm not quite sure what happened to Dan there through turn 1. Maybe a bit slow on the exit. Potstuff and Craig are battling away through turn 2 as well. Craig has got the position there at the moment, and Cassell there I think dropped down the order, but he hasn't come into the pits to serve that drive through, so he's trying to battle back there on Potstuff. Oh, he might have gone into the back of Potstuff there, unfortunately for Cassell. That is not good news, but I think he needs to get him to the pits and serve that drive through as soon as he can there on this occasion. But at the moment it seems that status quo for the race leaders. Everybody else has got through nicely so far as well. Fangio's checked out, as has Nigel, now getting up into P3 after overtaking Beast on the first turn, and now Dopey Lemons in P5, Dan Murphy in P6 as Kamara Racer has left the session. I think Kamara there was the first retirement of this race, and yeah, I'm not sure if there was a coming together or not at turn 3, but it wasn't good news for Kamara either way, and he's now out of the race. A few laps ago that was. Reflection there in P9 looking good on the recovery there for a Red Bull driver. He's got Florin though to contend with as they go through the final part of sector 2. Smithy's got himself having to P11 there as well, but he's now got Craig R for company as well. We just need to see if Cassell can get himself back to the pit lane without getting disqualified. Hopefully he can serve that drive through as soon as he can, but like I said, we can sort it out after the race if it is a glitch that the Alfa Romeo driver is facing. Of course, he was one of the drivers who jumped into the session last or latest because of the patch that's just been released today. So yeah, I think that might be something to do with it. Hopefully it is something to do with it, and it's not a driver error. As coming through the S section, I don't think Irvine should go for an overtake there, in my professional opinion. But nonetheless, they've got themselves through nicely. So now Cassell can get himself into the pits to serve that drive through, and then he can get himself back out onto the track. Good stuff indeed. So now let's see what Cassell can do. No, he's going to carry on now in this race. He needs to make sure he serves that drive through, otherwise he's going to get disqualified very soon. Potstuff and Craig are battling away through turn 1. Oh, there's a loss of traction there for Craig R. He's gone into the Red Bull, and that is him down the order. He's lost 2 positions now because of that as well. I think that was a loss of traction there for the McLaren on the exit of the turn, and he almost drove into the Red Bull of Potstuff there. Potstuff now back up into P12. Which of course is where he finished as well the gold race last night, because he took part in the gold race, which was very nice of him indeed. So yeah, Florin there up into the points paying positions now. He's got himself back up into the points there after having a bit of a difficult first half of this race, but looking good so far on the recovery as well as reflection as well. Both those drivers having a good job recovering in this race. Back up the order, Fangio once again checking out in the distance. Of course, that safety car, he had a 13.5 second gap when that safety car was called out. He's now got a 4-second gap almost within a couple of laps or so. So yeah, looking good for Fangio to extend this lead in this next stint. Of course, he has pit under that safety car as well. They've done 4 laps already on those intermediate compound tyres. Everybody has done, apart from Irvine, who's got 3 lap old tyres, and Brabbit, who's got 5 lap old tyres. But everybody should be able to get to the end, in my opinion, I think. But I've got another sneeze coming, so bear with me. Good stuff indeed. So yes, Ultimate Beast now looking to put the pressure on Nigel to get himself back into the podium places. Dopey Lemon's doing a good job of trying to bring that fight to the championship leader as well. Let's see if they can move up any positions here as well. Fruco's Farf, he's close behind Dan Murphy. Let's have a look and see if there's going to be any battles for those drivers. Brabbit there in P8 is going to be under pressure from Reflection. Reflection doing a great job at this stage to get himself further up the order. He's going to be all over the back of that Mercedes now with the slipstream, with the toe down the main straight. He's going to be able to maybe make a move into turn 1, is he? I think the straight line speed for that Mercedes is absolutely epic. He's gaining time down the straight as Brabbit. Amazing stuff indeed. Cassell there is coming into the pits now to serve that drive-through penalty, and thankfully he's got himself back to the pit lane now to get that sorted and get it out of the way. But like I said, he's not too far off. I don't think the grid, you can see actually the gap there to Fangio. from to Equaz is now about 5.5 seconds or so. He's not going to be that far off the back of Bradfield, his teammate, when he comes out of the pit lane as well. So yeah, so let's see what Cassell can do now to recover in this race. He's still got about 10 laps to go, so there's still plenty of time. Of course, we're looking at about a 1 minute 50 lap or so around here with these conditions, so there's still it's almost 2 minutes of lap time, so that is almost 20 minutes of running, about 18 minutes of running, I would say, in this race to go still. Yeah, so stay tuned to this one. It's going to be still pretty epic in the next few laps. I think Fandro there's going to try doing his best to extend that gap back to 13 seconds, isn't he, or even more, in this next phase of the race as well. Of course, the fresher intermediate compound tyres for everybody now will mean that they've got a bit more pace than they had when the safety car originally came out, because they were all on about sort of 10 lap old tyres, weren't they, when that safety car originally came out as well. So yeah, looking to use the pace of these tyres right now. Nigel still under pressure there from Beast in P4. That podium place is not secured yet for the AlphaTauri driver, the championship leader as well. Very close to the wall there on the exit there. He's really pushing now, is Nigel, because he's got the pressure now from that Mercedes. Dopey Lemons is just dropping off the back of this battle at the moment, I think. Although trying his best to cling onto this pack for the time being. Pot stuff. No, it's Smithy Almighty. Smithy Almighty is off the circuit. Where has he gone? He's reversed into the wall there, which is not good news, and he's now trying to get the car recovered. You just need to spin the car around and get going again, and he has done, which is good news. Cassell now with his drive-through has got himself back up into P15. Unfortunately for Smithy, that is I think that's definite wing damage there on the left-hand side of that Williams, and that will mean a pit stop is inbound for Smithy Almighty, unfortunately for him. So that is not good news. The gap between Nigel and Beast, though, is under 0.3 of a second there. That is getting close indeed for Nigel. I think he's not going to be happy with what he's seeing in his wing mirrors right now. Down the second main straight, I should say, or down the second straight towards turn 3. No moves made from Beast just yet, but he's really going to be all over the back of that AlphaTauri very, very shortly. Into the pits comes Smithy Almighty. Thankfully, he's got himself back into the pit lane to recover that Williams. Dan Murphy now all over the back of Dopey Lemons, who's dropped off the battle for P3 at this moment in time, just about. They're both dropping far at the moment as well, so it's getting a bit more stretched out now in this race. Craigar and Irvine, they're doing a good job to try and recover their positions as well. Bradfield now up into P14, and Cassell there in P15. They're trying to get himself back in the order. Like I said, with Cassell, if there is any drive-through penalties that we need to look at because the game has given them incorrectly, then we will look at that after the race as well. So potentially Cassell might be moving up the order with some time removed. But of course, I don't think he'll get his full drive-through penalty removed, because it was of course taken under, or just it was because of the safety car itself. So yeah, like I said, the safety car will play a factor in what time it is, but it'll probably be about 10 seconds or so if it is looked at as well. That is, it might be Cassell's error, so he might not report anything. So it might be reviewed, might not be reviewed at all. That is, but nonetheless, we'll carry on. We're on lap 18 now. We're about to start lap 19, and we're going to have 19, 20, 21, 22. 23, 24, 25, 26, 8 laps left to go, if my maths is correct, that is. Fanjo really checking out in the distance now. He's up to 8 seconds now, is the race leader. And here comes Beast now down the main straight. Yellow flags as Florence had an issue there through the S's section. You can see the McLaren there is stranded there as we go through, and there's another safety car. Once again, Fanjo's lead is wiped out again. And yeah, it's another safety car here, as I think the conditions are really playing a factor in this one. Florent out of the race, and that is him done and dusted in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Unfortunately, 18 laps completed for Florent, and that is him done and dusted in this one. It's good news for Smithy, though, as he's been able to get himself back up the order and catch up to this safety car queue, but having made that pit stop for a front wing change. But yeah, really sad news for Florent there. Of course, DMAC there was another victim of the S's section, as Bradfield is into the pits there for a fresh set of intermediate combat tyres. Maybe a good call there from Bradfield, potentially. He's only lost that to his teammate, and everybody else is on 7 lap old intermediates around him there. Smithy there, of course, on fresh intermediates, who will be able to now catch up to the safety car queue with the safety car being called out. But yeah, really unfortunate events there for Florin there. Florin and DMAC both having a big smash individually through the S's section. I think the conditions just catching them out, and the car setup just not withholding the pressure, I think, from the speed through those corners as well. Good news for Cassell and Smithy, says Ginger Rage in the comment section. Yes, of course, Cassell will be able to catch up as well with that after serving that drive-through penalty. He was about 15 or 14 seconds or so behind the rest of the pack, but now that safety car coming out will be able to bring him back into play. So now the safety car has he's got past the safety car now, has Smithy. So now he'll be able to catch up to the rest of the pack and get back into this race. Will we see another pit stop from Fanjo? Because he's got a 12-second lead now at the moment. Will he be able to get himself through the pit lane in time to come back out ahead of Equaz? Or will he decide that's not important if he comes out behind Equaz, because he'll be on the fresher intermediate compound tyres? I think he's carrying on here. He looks like he's carrying on in this stage of the race. Yeah, he has carried on. So that is him deciding that it's not worth the pit stop. He's got 8-lap-old intermediate, so it's not going to be too bad for him indeed. Is Nigel going to come into the pits? Nobody coming into the pits just yet. I think Nigel just trying to trick Equaz or Ultimate Beast to make a pit stop there, but nobody falling for it at this stage anyway. So everyone's going through the order. It looks like Reflection carrying on as well. Pot Stuff also going to carry on. Irvine, I think, going to carry on as well, as they go across the line there to start the 19th lap, or 20th lap now, sorry. We're going to, of course, have another couple more laps under the safety car, because Smithy needs to catch up to the safety car queue, as does Bradfield and Cassell. Cassell is going to carry on as well, so he's staying out in this one. So we're just waiting now for Bradfield and for Smithy, of course, to catch up to the safety car queue, and then we can get ourselves restarted. Fanjo has already caught the safety car, so we'll be going through Sector 2 now at a very leisurely pace. Back underway. Sorry about that. Another sneeze. But yeah, there we go then. Everybody catching up now to the safety car queue just about. So we're just waiting for the last few drivers to catch up, and then hopefully we'll be back underway at the end of lap 21, which means that we'll have lap 22, 23, 24, 25 and 26, which is 5 laps, if I'm correct, of green flag running to the end. And of course, no safety cars or VSCs can be called out from lap 23 onwards, I don't think. So we won't see anything from lap 23 onwards. So yeah, like I said, once we've got this safety car out of the way, I think we're going green to the end pretty much. Is that the 4th safety car, says Serious Mushroom? No, I think it's the 3rd. We had a safety car for DMAC and for Florin, and I think we had did we have a safety car for, I don't think we had a safety car for Kamara, because he was off the circuit. We had a safety car for something else, I think, or potentially was Kamara. So yeah, there's only 3 safety cars so far, but yeah, fingers crossed we don't have 4. I think that was the old game as well. It only allows 5. I'm not quite sure. But we never got up to that, thankfully, in ALR, and we don't expect to be doing that either. So there we go, good stuff. So here we go then. Like I said, Smithy just he's not having much luck trying to catch up to the safety car queue at this rate, I should say. So like I said, it might be out for another lap even, as well, as we've now got Cassell just catching up to the queue. These drivers taking their time to catch up. I think it's just the conditions there. It's causing a bit of havoc trying to keep up to the safety car queue at this stage of the race. But there we go. So yeah, once Smithy has caught up, we will be back underway for the green flag running. Yeah, like I said, we're just waiting for the last couple of cars to catch up now. Yeah, so far, like I said, unfortunately, it's not been a chaotic race, I would say. It's just been a unfortunate race for the likes of Camaro, for DMAC, and for Florin. All individual incidents at various points in the race itself as well, which has unfortunately cost them their position, or their place in the race, and that has brought out a safety car for each as well. And yeah, like I said, I think it was Camaro who retired. I think it was very early on. It was lap 4 or 5, and then we had DMAC there as well through the S section, just going a bit too fast there, losing the car into the wall, and that was another safety car on lap 11. And now we've had Florin as well do the same through the S section, and we've had a safety car come out on lap 18. So yeah, unfortunate errors, just individual errors, but like I said, these conditions don't make it easy at all, do they? So yeah, that is why. And like I said, we're going to have a few laps of green flag running to go after this safety car has come in, but we're just waiting for Smithy to catch up to the safety car queue before we can get ourselves back underway. Right then, I think we might be underway for the restart on this one. depending on what Smithy can do going out the castle section. It seems like everyone goes really slowly through there. Maybe it's just the it is actually the speed of the car, because I thought it was Reflection having a few problems going through there, but he has managed to get himself back into the safety car queue, has Smithy. So once again, Fanjo leads the way. round 3, or round 3 for the restart, that is, for Fanjo. Where will he go in this time? Will he go early? Will he go late? Will he go somewhere in the middle again? We don't know. He's going to have to try and choose and try and catch out the rivals behind him once again. We've seen with his pace, though, I think that he's quite comfortably got the pace to extend the lead, even in the 5 laps or so that we're going to have remaining. Safety car has got itself back to the pit lane already, so we should be underway very, very shortly for this restart. Who does everyone think should be driver of the day, says Ginger Age. We'll have a quick look at the position changes in this one as well, but I think we better wait for the for the restart of this race to get itself underway, so everyone can get themselves sorted. But away we go very, very shortly. Here we go then. Fanjo has let the hammer go, and away we go for the restart for the 3rd time down the main straight. Both drivers still weaving. They're trying to warm up those tyres as they go full power down the main straight. I'm not quite sure that's the right tactic, to be honest, but nonetheless it's working out for some of them. Dan Murphy's trying to get himself past Dopey Lemons once again for P5. He's gone deep on the brakes once again, and Dopey Lemons, wow, now coming back at him. Favre there sticking his nose down the inside at turn 2. Dan Murphy trying to go around the outside at turn 2 as well. And Dopey there just cutting across. He's lost a bit of traction there, I think. And they're going to be side by side heading down the next straight towards turn 3. This is going to be dangerous stuff indeed. And Favre is going to be interested as well. Here goes Dan Murphy once again down the outside, I should say. Always contact from both of the drivers there. And now Favre and Brabbitt have got through now. Dan Murphy there, I think, trying to make the opportunistic move. And it didn't pay off, unfortunately, for him. It looks like at the moment, I would say the driver of the day is either Equaz. It was either Farf or it's either Reflection as well. I'd have to say Reflection and Irvine have done a fantastic job in this race, in my personal opinion. Both of them getting through. I would say Reflection indeed, especially after you saw him having a bit of a treacherous time at the first few laps of this race. But thankfully, he has got himself back up into the points-paying positions as it stands as well. Good stuff indeed from him. So yes, good stuff from Fanjo, not from Fanjo, from Reflection. Good stuff from Fanjo indeed as well. But I think, as of course, he's one of my candidates for driver of the day also. So yeah, I'll definitely say Fanjo, Equaz, Farf, and Reflection as well on my candidates. But of course, there will be a vote hopefully in the poll, in Discord. That is not in the Discord, in the YouTube comment section. So get your votes in for that. As Ultimate Beast, they're looking to try and improve his position there to P3. Nigel's there still clinging on to Equaz at the moment, so Equaz may be under a bit of pressure here, but I think Equaz has got the pace there to fight off Nigel at this stage of the race. Through into the S's section once again goes Farf. I think he just almost clouded the wall once again as well, but he's managed to get through. He's now got a gap there to Dopey Lemons as well. Brabbitt has dropped back to P7. And Dan Murphy there, who's had a bit of a fight there through the orders. Potstuff got past his teammate for P9, and I think there's a Haas there of Irvine interested in this as well. It's going to be tight indeed. Reflection and Irvine going side by side through turn 1, and now again through turn 2. And I think Irvine is snuck ahead of the Rebel. Unfortunately, I was saying Reflection was my candidate for driver of the day. Unfortunately, out of the points at this stage of the moment, and now Irvine there getting that extra point for the Haas team after gaining 8 places and having a bit of a treacherous time as well in this race. He had got himself up into P10 there. Good points, or an extra point there for the Haas driver and of course for the team. So there, Haas, come on, Irvine, says Serious Mushroom. He's got himself up into the points paying positions. That's an extra point there for the Haas team as well, which is always good news. An extra point is a welcome point in my opinion. Any points will do. As Irvine and Beast, Beast has gone straight on there. Beast has gone straight on at the castle, before the castle section. I think he's gone on he's lost his brakes there as Beast. That has cost him positions there he was in P4. Sorry, he's lost positions to Favre, Dopey Lemons, Brabbitt, Dan Murphy, Potstuff, and now is going to have to try and recover his position there in this race. As we're still waiting on the poll from the driver of the day, but nonetheless, as Ultimate Beast is now dropping down to P9, and that is going to entice the likes of Irvine and Reflection to get themselves past the Mercedes driver as well. But unfortunate scenes there. I think Ultimate Beast there just late on the brakes and had to try to take avoiding action. Thankfully, he didn't collide with Nigel, who had lost a bit of time there, but he missed Nigel, and I think that was that was what he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to get trying to go for the overtake, but he was late on the brakes. But he was just trying to avoid the AlphaTauri driver of Nigel, because of course he doesn't want to ruin his race, and that is ideal for. Well, it was ideal. It was good. It was good driving in the end, actually, from Ultimate Beast. Even though he made an error, he was trying his best to avoid any incident, any action, and he did get out of the way as quickly as he could from the pack around him as well. Irvine now going to be interested in the back of that Mercedes as he goes through turn 1. Let's see what he can do. Oh, well, never mind then. Good stuff. As Fandro there once again checking out in the distance. He's on lap 24 of 26. We're almost there. He's got almost a 7-second gap now to P2. Ekwaz there is under pressure once again from Nigel. Nigel's catching up. Dan Murphy and Brabbitt battling away into turn 3, and Brabbitt now going to look into the inside of turn 4. No, he's cutting back in and looking to follow the Aston Martin through now. Into P6 goes Dan Murphy, as we've just seen somebody else change position as well. I think Cassell getting past Craig R potentially. Nope, it's Craig R going down the order. Unfortunately for Craig R, he's not having a good race. He's lost positions to both of the Alfa Romeos in the last few corners here, unfortunately for him. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if there's a bit of damage there for the McLaren driver, but hopefully he can get to the end of this race potentially, as we've had into weather for the whole of this race. Potentially Craig R can put a new front wing on that car if he's got damage, and put a new set of tyres on and go to the end. Go for the fastest lap point if he's got the fuel and the energy to go for, and the ERS energy that is, to go for it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see if there is. I don't think there is any damage on that McLaren. I think it might have just been a bit of a mistake there through sector 2 for Craig, which is a bit of a shame there. We saw of course earlier on that he had a supporter in the chat as well, so hopefully the support is still there for Craig, as Fandro there crosses the line to start lap 25, the penultimate lap now. He's 8 seconds ahead. We saw him, I think it was sector 1, just at the end of sector 1, that he was about 6.5 seconds ahead. He's almost gained a second and a half in a sector and a half as well, to be honest. So yeah, that is epic news indeed for Fandro, just showing the extra pace that Haas driver has got. Absolutely epic so far in this race. Nigel there has lost out a bit to Ekwaz, I think, a bit more straight line speed for that Aston Martin. So Nigel is gaining through sectors 2 and the beginning of sector 3 as well, but not so much down the main straight, where the extra pace for that Aston Martin swings into play. Beast and Irvine battling through turn 2. Irvine's got himself up into P9. Has he? He has. He's side by side still with the Mercedes. He's trying to move the Mercedes out of the way a little bit there, I think. Into turn 3, it's going to be tight indeed. On the brakes, let's see what's going to happen here. Ultimate Beast has to tuck in behind and lose the position out to Irvine there. But now down the inside, it's contact. There's contact again from Beast. That is yeah, not good news, I think, from the Mercedes point of view. And now once again down into sector 2, late on the brakes goes Irvine, this time pushing the Mercedes wide, and I think that is they're getting their elbows out once again in this one, as now into the next phase of the race. You don't want to be going side by side through here really, and Ultimate Beast is still going for it, and Irvine is still going for it as well. And this is where we saw the incidents between the two drivers in the last race as well, and unfortunately there Irvine, I think, has run into the wall there. And that is exactly what we told the drivers not to do in the race, before the race, I should say, as I think that's now cost Irvine a points paying position, to be honest, because of he's sliding around the final few corners, as that is going to cost him a points paying position there as well, because I think there's damage now on that Haas. And he's going to have to try and get it to the finish line and try and keep the likes of Reflection and Cassell right behind him as well whilst doing that. But now trying to slide around the corners is Irvine, which is not going to be good news for his tyres at all, as Fandro once again sets the fastest lap of the race. That's on lap 25. Let's see what we can do as we go around through the S's section. Reflection's gone off. Reflection is off. He's gone for a spin. There's Reflection. Unfortunately for Reflection, that was going so well on that recovery as well. He's almost back in the points paying positions as well. He was fighting with Irvine there for the last point, and unfortunately it has not come to fruition there for Reflection. He was doing so well in that one. A big shame there for him. Irvine seems to be all over the place now. Potstaff's got himself up to P7 there. He's got past Brabbitt for P7. Brabbitt there has lost a lot of time there on the exit of turn 2. I'm not sure if there was a mistake there or there was a contact. It seems to be getting a bit iffy there at the end of this race. But here comes Beast now into turn 3. Irvine there has, like I said, dropped off the back, but he's still within that points paying position. If he can keep Cassell behind him for the next half a lap or so, he's not far off getting that extra point. but he needs to stop sliding through these corners. There's Irvine. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do here. He's trying to put the power down too early, and that's going to cost him extra time to the drivers behind him. He's going to put in the power down too early, and that is going to cost him as well. Brabbit and Ultimate Beast into... Oh my goodness, what is going on here? This is not good driving from the Mercedes team. That is a contact between both of the Mercedes drivers again, and again trying to go through the through this castle section as well is not the area to try and overtake there, I don't think, and especially if there's team orders, I wouldn't try and overtake in sector 2 at all, really. It's just going to slow the both cars down as well, and I think Beast is just getting a bit desperate here, trying to make the overtake. He's in the points paying positions nonetheless. He doesn't need to worry about it so much, and of course he's only reserving at this point in the race as well, in the season as well. So it doesn't matter too much as well. As Brabbit there just trying to go through the next turn as well and keep the position there to his teammate. Fanjo crosses the line. I completely missed it. Fanjo wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A fantastic race indeed from Fanjo. 12.9 seconds was the gap in the end as he crosses the line with fastest lap as well on the final lap. What a result for Fanjo as well, getting himself back in the championship fight. Equaz there in P2. A great race indeed from him as well. Up 4 places as well. Nigel there back on the podium as well in P3. Probably not where he wanted to be, but still got some good points in the end as well. Farf in P4 as well, driver of the day candidate. Dopey Lemons there in P5, Dan Murphy in P6, Potstuff in P7, Brabbit in P8, I think Ultimate Beast there in P9, and Irvine in P10. Blimey, that was good. Right, I'm hoping somebody can get the invites to the party for anybody into this one. We've had a bit of a long race tonight because, of course, the wet weather conditions has extended the race. Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, the top 3 can get invited to the party. They are the top 3 in the championship order, of course. Fanjo, Equaz, and Nigel on the podium places once again. Good stuff indeed from those drivers. We'll have a look through the classification very, very shortly as well. And there we go. We'll have a look at the celebrations first, as of course Fanjo ecstatic with his win in Azerbaijan. We've seen him have some great pace in Azerbaijan before in the future, in previous seasons. So yeah, we knew that there was something coming from this driver in this event, and looking like he's going to try and battle back to get back in with the championship fight as he sets the fastest lap. It's a grand slam there from Fanjo. Pole position, the whole race led and won, and the fastest lap point on the final lap as well, I should say. Fantastic stuff indeed from Fanjo. Equaz there in P2, a really good race indeed from P6 on the grid as well for him into the second place on the final steps, as is Nigel in P3. Farf there in P4, a driver of the day performance, I think, in my opinion, from Farf in P4 in the end. Dopey Lemons in P5, Dan Murphy P6 in the end for Aston Martin. Good stuff indeed from him. Pot stuff in P7 after recovering after the 3-stop strategy. Brabbit as well on a 3-stop here has got himself back into P8. Ultimate Beast in P9. Irvine there in the final points pay position. Good stuff indeed from Irvine. Cassell in P11. Bradfield in P... Oh, I missed out on all of that. So I think it was Cassell in P11. Bradfield in P12. And then we had Craig R, and then Smithy Almighty, and then unfortunately we had DMAC and Florin and Camaro out of this race, wasn't it? Right then, we'll get on to the interviews quickly. Let's have a look and see if everyone's joined us in the party. No, brilliant. Okay, well, you're going to have to wait for another few minutes before I can get everybody in here because nobody's invited them for me. Thank you very much. Harry, there we go. And now we want Equaz. Can't seem to find Equaz. Why can't I find Equaz? Just trying to find people to invite them to the party. It'd be helpful if this was done for me. Right, let's have a look. We're still scrolling. Bear with us. There he is. Finally, there we go. We got there in the end. Sorry about that. Right then, let's get the mic sorted, and we'll be able to get the interviews underway. bit of a shame that it's taking this long. But nonetheless, we're going to get in there very, very shortly and have a nice little conversation with the podium sitters. Let's have a quick look and just get the mics sorted as well. Yeah, we want that on that, and we want this on this. Good stuff indeed. Hello, guys. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully I can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can. We can hear Nigel at least. Nigel, welcome to the podium places. Of course, you're familiar with this position, but not so much familiar with P3. How did that race go for yourself?
Yeah, it was a very tough race. I think in the second lap I was hit from behind and had front wing damage, but managed to race with it and came in the end. Yeah, to it.
Well, you recovered very nicely indeed from the wing damage. We didn't quite see it on the stream, but nonetheless, it was a good result in the end to keep the points all coming in, and of course another podium for yourself as well. So that's still in the record books, of course, of keeping that podium run alive. But I think, like I said, it was a bit of difficult conditions as well. Did you have a setup in mind for the wet conditions for the wet race, or did you just have to go in with a dry setup and hope for the best?
Yeah, the less fun. I hope just for the best. No setup for it, and after the front wing damage, it was really hard to manage with the setup. But at the end, it pays off.
Well, you managed to get himself back on the podium anyway, so it's not too bad at the end of this one after like I said, the recovery. So we're on to, I think you did mention to me as well that you were off on holiday soon. Are you taking part in Canada next week?
Wait a minute. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good stuff. We'll see. We'll see Nigel there taking part in Canada. So, what's your thoughts on Canada as well then? Because of course we might be expecting another wet race in that one.
Yeah, I hope it will be dry, but I will be prepared for both.
Good stuff indeed. Well, we'll hopefully see you back on the podium as well next week, before your holiday as well. Ekwaz there is the next driver, of course, who's jumped into the party as well. Ekwaz, I think, like I said, you were pretty much commanding that P2 position. You had the pace to keep everyone behind you, but unfortunately, there was another driver ahead of you. But what was your thoughts on that? I think you, like I said, you were very, very comfortable in that one.
Yeah, thanks everyone racing. Yeah, I was just lucky to get a good start really, and then from there just raced away. And Fanjo just, oh my God, what was that?
Yeah, we'll have to get to that one.
Every time I looked up,
well, like I said, from your point of view, I think, like I said, I didn't see anything go wrong in that race for you as well, even to be honest. But like I said, I think just the pace from Fanjo there to get away was just a bit too much for anybody on that grid. To be honest, I think we'll have to come to Fanjo and have a chat about that. But you might have had some rocket boosts from Gunter installed in that car. But yeah, nonetheless, a P2 for yourself, an upgrade to be fair from P3, which is good news. How are you feeling on that? Going a bit further forward on the podium.
Yeah, not too bad. I think I got a win in Australia, which was quite early on.
Oh right, I forgot about that. Sorry.
I don't think Fanjo was racing on Nigel. I'm not sure what happened with them, but I think I got a bit lucky with that.
Oh well, we'll see. Yeah, maybe more wins in the future, more podiums in the future as well. But yeah, again, a consistent drive from the most consistent driver I think on the grid at the moment in silver. So yeah, looking good indeed for yourself as well. Well done, to you. And what's your thoughts on Canada as well for next week?
Canada is a big no for me. I hate that track.
Good stuff indeed. That's promising. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you on the podium, but it doesn't sound positive, unfortunately, at the moment. So, yeah, fingers crossed for yourself next week as well. And we'll come to our race winner as well, our pole sitter, our race winner, and our fastest lap holder as well for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Fanjo. I don't think you could have done anything better in that race, to be honest. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, no, like, to be honest, I will say it's my best track on the game, and it has been for like the last 3 games. So yeah, I was kind of happy either way, and I was actually, when I saw the wet race, it kind of was even better, because I think less can go wrong in a wet race than a dry race. You've more time to take the corners, and you can avoid the walls easier. So once I kind of got out ahead, I was happy enough. And yeah, there was a lot of safety cars, but yeah, no, I was happy enough in the end.
Well, I think some people disagree with you about that, because they probably wanted it to be a dry race. But nonetheless, I said extending that gap, you pretty much had I think it was about 13 seconds, was it, on the second safety car, I remember. And then again, at the end of the race, it was almost 13 seconds as well to Ekwaz there in P2. Absolutely amazing performance. And what hacks did you have?
Say it again. What?
What hacks did you have?
Oh. I think I was slower than the two lads behind in the straight, but I put a lot of rear downforce on, so that I'd be quick in the middle sector, and that would
There you
get
go
me
then,
away.
guys. That's the trick. So now we've got your secret. That's all we were after. That's all we needed. So that's good news. But no, once again, a fantastic job. It was the Grand Slam as well for Fandro. Of course, the win, pole position, and the fastest lap as well. So great stuff indeed from Fandro as well. And bringing the fight back in the championship as well to Nigel. So looking good indeed. And well, last but not least, we'll go on to your thoughts for Canada as well before we wrap up the stream.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Equiz or here. Like Canada's possibly one of my worst tracks, but sure, we'll see what we can do around there.
Perfect stuff. That's good stuff indeed. Great to hear. All right, that's good. Well, we'll be back, of course, tomorrow night with Ginger Rage for bronze as well around Baku. Of course, there'll be more 100% action as well on the Wednesday around Canada as well for a bit of practice for the guys who want to take part in that. For anybody who wants to jump into that one, it is all a bit of practice for Canada next round. So stay tuned for that on the Wednesday night as well. So there's still more ALR action coming up for you this week, and then we'll be back for Canada, of course, from gold on Sunday, then Monday for silver and bronze again for Tuesday as well. So stay tuned to ALR. Plenty more